Still going? Good. Well, you're almost there. This is video 5 of 6. I may do more videos later on, but the first round is 6 videos, and this is number 5. So nice work. Conclusions. What can you say? What can you not say? You've done your research. You've asked a very specific question. You have gathered specific literature, and you have gathered even more specific new knowledge in your field research. That means that you can now come to conclusions. You've done your field research, and the information you gathered there is called your results. These are not your conclusions. Your results is the information you received from your respondents, from the text, from whatever it is, your material, the data that you gathered. That is your results. Those are your results. It is in comparing your results that you can draw your conclusions. Perhaps your data has given you the reason to say that your hypotheses that you may have written down at the start is either correct or incorrect, so you can accept your hypothesis or you can reject your hypothesis. You can also compare the results to literature. You can say, in accordance with source X, the results show that blah blah. Or counter to what Y is saying, the results show that blah blah. And you can compare within the data that you've gathered. For instance, if you ask people if they are from a certain part of the Netherlands, for example, then maybe you will see that people from Brabant do things differently than people from North Holland. I don't know, but that's a possibility. And it might be relevant and it might not be relevant. So keep your conclusions to the relevant elements, of course. Don't just give us a bunch of information that you can conclude, but make sure that it is relevant to what you're asking. The most relevant thing, of course, is that you answer the central question, or the main question, whatever you call it. Make very sure that there is a very clear line all the way through your thesis, through your paper. This is where we start, this is our problem, therefore this is the question, therefore this is a literature that matches with that question, this is the method that we have to use, these are the results that logically flow from whatever came first, and these are the conclusions that we can logically draw that form a valid answer to your question. So if you're asking for a day of the week, give me a day of the week. If you're asking me for a percentage of people, or not asking me, if you are asking for a percentage of people, give a percentage. Make sure that your answer fits the question. Something you also add in your conclusions, and it may be a separate chapter, it may be part of your conclusions chapter, that probably depends on your studies. We would like to see discussion. We would like you to tell us, your teachers, what has gone right and what has gone wrong. Now, this may seem like a counterintuitive thing, to tell your teachers what is wrong about your paper or your thesis. But rest assured, we know what is wrong about your paper, so you may as well tell us. Actually, because you tell us, you show us that you know as well, and it's always better for us to see that you realize what has gone wrong than that you having made some mistake and you're like, la, that's not a mistake at all. Because then we're wondering, did you learn from this? Do you know what not to do next time? So always talk about your mistakes. That shows us that you know that it should have been different. One last thing I would like to see in conclusions is a recommendation for further research. You're never done researching. There is always something else that has now piqued your interest, that you're like, hey, we found out A, but now I'm wondering about B. So give recommendations to do research into B. In some cases, especially if you're studying at a University of Applied Science, there is another chapter that you will write, and that is your advice. I don't have that much to say about it because that's such a general thing where so many things can happen that I'm not going to make it into a video as part of the first 6 videos. Again, I may do more if there are questions. Make sure that your advice, again, fits with everything that came before it. Make sure that it is a logical recommendation based on your research. Okay, so now we've talked about everything that is part of the content of your thesis or your paper, so why am I making a 6th video? Well, you're just going to have to find out.